Hey everybody, Rodman here. Thanks for tuning in to The Philosopher King, a RimWorld royalty series. Here's a little recap of our rules and goals, and a little reminder that it is a Choose Your Own Adventure series, which means bi-weekly, or every other week, we will have a poll to determine projects, rules, and goals. Last vote, we decided that the closest ancient danger should become a guest room for royalty. We should tame a dangerous guard animal for the title holder's protection, and construct and cultivate a beautiful garden. I also had a few tips to go over. The first tip is from Theo and Brian about the fact that Gelly, being a royal, does not do dexterity play, but will, however, benefit from statues, high art, high culture, and also benefit from a harp. So there is a new recreation type called high culture. High culture is appreciating art, playing instruments, things of that nature. So what I'm going to do is get Talon to, and he's already crafting statues, but to get Talon to craft some additional statues. And then I'm also going to make a harp. Now eventually, Babaloo will demand a harp to be installed in his throne room. So I might as well make one now, because Gelly would benefit from it. Another suggestion from Noble was that I put some more plants around my poker table, and I intend to do that. So with that in mind, I will queue up some marble potted plants. I'm going to queue up actually 4, I guess. And then another suggestion from Caleb was that royals here, if you take a look at their diet could be allowed to just be berries or milk. So if you make simple meals specifically out of berries or milk, they will eat that simple meal because it contains the foods that they are allowed, which allows you to feed them a little more cheaply than making a lavish meal, which is twice the ingredients. Now, at present, I don't actually have a nice supply of berries or milk, but knowing that, I could tame animals, female animals, like the muffalo here, in order to acquire milk for the future, or yaks. Yaks could do it as well. Given that yaks are new creatures to RimWorld, let's tame some yaks. I don't know, I haven't done the math about their milk efficiency. Every creature in RimWorld has their own sort of milk efficiency, for instance. So, one of the advantages of yaks is they really do not get cold or very easily. So, if we had a cold snap, they'd be fine outside. They are indeed a pack animal, but they really can't be trained at all. They require 0.68 nutrition per day. Versus, what is a muffalo? Muffalo is significantly more nutrition per day. I'm just sort of interested in their milk rate, but I won't do the math now. And then the last suggestion I got was from APV, which is about changing Gelly's sleep cycle to be a night owl to keep Gelly from hitting on Yanshui as much as possible. I'm also going to create 2 new zones. One called Gelly Research and one called Babaloo Research. Gelly Research and Babaloo Research are going to be zones, both inverted. Gelly Research is... I guess I reversed the names, but it doesn't really matter. I'm specifying what benches they're allowed to research on. And the reason for this is I'm going to put a masterwork armchair for Gelly to sit on so that comfort is met. Alright, so first things first, I want to install a sculpture because that's going to allow Gelly to get some high culture recreation fulfillment. And then Once Zero's up, Zero will work on that harp. Klein here is fully trained, but I also want to train attack and rescue before I allow Klein to start to haul. Another thing that a lot of you mentioned is to close the garden door, so I'll be doing that. Alright, Yan Shui is stockpiling our wood supply. And another thing I can do, once I have some more beautiful statues, is to line them up around the research bench to make this a very beautiful area. As you can see, if we check Bubbaloo, for instance, the beauty is about 59%, and if I got that higher, it would have a positive mood effect. So here Gelly is. This is exactly what I was referring to. If you take the look at the recreation type, you can see high culture climbing. High culture is being fulfilled by staring at art. The silent prisoners. So, Tiberius Kamena, seeking my help. They recently extracted 6 prisoners from an ancient cryo-sleep vault, and they intend to question them. But they need me to hold them for 19 days. They are expert fighters, but my reputation will go up considerably if I do this for them. Okay, I have 1 week to do this. Wow, that is a big quest. It's a big ask, but I guess I could turn this room into a prison holding area, I suppose. So if I was to do that, I would want to likely airlock the prisoners in. So I'm going to move some things around in my base. Unfortunately, these vents are going to have to move off to the side, so it's a little bit of a waste. Prisoners are less likely to jailbreak if they have to go through more doors. A strange principle, but one that is sound, I suppose. Alright, so now Gelly, comfort needs are being fulfilled. He is currently trapped underground, though, so I'm going to have Gelly walk around outdoors, sort of pointlessly, taking in the vistas to lose the trapped indoors mood debuff. And I'm going to have to do this periodically. I suppose I could have walked Gelly around the beautiful farm. Okay, so we're already taming yaks, and these yaks are going to... I don't believe they get trained in anything, just tameness. So what I want the yaks to do is to graze around my base. So, much like animal hauling, I'm going to create a new zone. Animal grazing. And for now, I just want the yaks close. And that way, if I'm in danger and I have raids incoming, I can send the yaks to ground. I can send the yaks inside the base or somewhere more safe, especially if I get a barn in the future. All right, I'm going to add the new additions to the home zone. Oh, Talon's making some good art. Let's have Bubbaloo haul that in. And see, now the beauty here is going to go up. So we're up to almost 70%. We'll just keep raising that up. Looking around my base, it also looks like I could definitely afford to merge some stockpiles. I have a lot of extra space that I could free up. Alright, Klein, we are waiting for you to get fully trained. Oh, here, the yak, we need to put you in animal grazing. Now, we're currently researching auto doors. But I'm not going to be building auto doors immediately. One of the issues that I have with auto doors is that because they're mechanical, they do have a chance to break down. So it's best to use auto doors when you have the ability to make your own components. And I don't build auto doors early for that reason, because they will be breaking down. The more doors you add, the more they break down. So you can add some key doors, doors that need to open and close quickly, like external doors with auto doors. But I highly suggest that you don't turn your whole base into auto doors, because you will find yourself hurting for components pretty quickly. They take some to construct, and they break constantly. Alright, so the Geli night shift should keep Geli away from hitting on Yanshui, or at least that's the hope. And Zero, for that matter. Zero is also female, and roughly of same age. Alright, so Zero is making these potted plants. These plants are going to go into the four corners of the poker table over here. It also would be nice if... Here, this one's just good. Let's try to get 4 excellent ones. There we are. Also be nice if I got the flower pots in everybody's bedrooms as well, wouldn't it? So work on that next, too. Yanshui is actually planting in them, even though they're about to be moved. And here, well, we're playing poker. Not a whole lot of beauty here, but I will be working on that. We will be adding, once Talon is capable of finer art, we'll be adding some art to it. One thing that Zero hasn't yet made is that harp. So I will cue that up soon. Alright, so now we've got, it's a little bit more beautiful. It doesn't have plants yet, but we're working on it. I'm going to have Yanshui finish up setting these up. It's going to be a little weird to have a wood-fired generator in the middle of the prison, but we need to house 6 prisoners. So, you know what I could do? Is I could actually set up what was going to be the hospital to be a prison ward instead. I suppose that's fairly doable. And I want to make the prisoners comfortable. They've been in cryosleep for a long time, so I'll get that set up for them. I will marble tile this up for a nicer prison. And that means that despite the fact that I just airlocked this, I could probably remove said airlock. Masterwork end table. Hot damn. Zero, you really outdo yourself. In fact, we will keep that masterwork table for ourselves. I think what I'm going to do, because eventually if this is going to become a hospital, I will have it sterilized. I will just use the wooden flooring. Even though it's a little flammable, I'll run that risk. So most of these beds are excellent. Some are good. I can work on replacing them all with excellent eventually. But for now, I'm pretty satisfied. So let's change these end tables around. Zero is going to claim his masterwork for himself. The art on this, oh, it doesn't actually have art, does it? It's not one of those that kind of gets it. Alright, sterile materials are now researched. Taking a look at the map around me. I'm curious, I guess we do have geothermal that are not too far away. So I'm going to start to research geothermal. It'd be nice if I didn't have to worry about fueling up my generators constantly. I do have solar, but they're obviously off during the night. Now, if I'm going to be housing a bunch of prisoners, I'm going to want an excess of meat, because I'll be feeding them just like meat simple meals. So I'm going to shrink the zone here and increase the meal zone to accommodate a few more simple meals. Now, one of the things that you can do for prisoners is either feed them straight nutrient paste meals that they can withdraw themselves, or you can stock. You can actually stock a pemmican for them, so you don't have to carry meals to them. So for now, actually, I might prefer the pemmican approach. I'll put a shelf here to that end. You could put normal meals. The only issue with normal meals is, of course, they spoil. So you'd be dealing with constant spoiling. All right, looks like I'm also going to need to make some kibble. I'm not sure why. Oh, you know what? I think I simply don't have enough berries and the like. So let's get queuing a big harvest out here. Surprisingly, I still have not made that that harp. Oh, and now we're mining down here, aren't we? Okay, it looks like a lot of the art that we've been making has been working out for the best. Blue, I'm going to have you work on making the right around the research table a little prettier. Talon's woodcraft art is actually becoming beneficial, and as such, I'm going to install some of it into the bedrooms, trying to make the bedrooms a little bit nicer as well. So the beauty around here is about a 4 or so, which fulfills beauty up to 80-ish%. Again, keeping Gelly about as happy as possible. I've got 5 days to I'll accept the prisoners now. Now these guys shouldn't be bleeding. They shouldn't be critical. I just need to carry them in. So I'm going to start to carry them now. And this is going to put a little bit of a strain on my my meat, because I'll be initially feeding them simple meals, and then maybe stockpiling kibble. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make it critically important that pemmican's up here. Or actually, you know what? Let's stockpile simple meals. I want to keep my kibble or my pemmican for travel. Mathis, I do believe you have some doctoring to do. But let's go ahead and prisoners. I want to no interact, no meds. I don't plan on interacting with them because it would be sort of a waste of my efforts. But I do want to take an opportunity to train my doctoring. I also really ought to close this door. This door here is going to allow them to escape once they're not sedated. So I'm going to have Bubbaloo force close that door. So now we're moving these simple meals up to them. And I want to crank out 26 simple meals. Kind of a lot. We're going to make sure, yep, just only using meat. Some of these meals here are going to spoil. Yeah, maybe actually 14. No, I'll just do 10. Craft up to 10. Or 12. There we go. Now, they're starting to be able to walk. Some of them are still not patched up. These are all, should be, they say space refugees, but they're really ancient danger dwellers who happen to be vomiting a lot. So the advantage of getting Mathis level up in medicine is it's really good to have 2 doctors. But of course, I guess this is... Yeah, this is leveling us up a little bit. Alright, so Gelly. Your comfort, beauty, outdoors being fulfilled. You're not a royal pain in my butt as much as you were not too long ago. Right now, my batteries are being drained out pretty quick. Alright, Yanshui, could you refill? Okay, that was a lot of wood. Klein, how is your training coming along? You are all set, so I'm going to have you unrestricted, and I'm also going to remove the temp zone that you were stuck in. So Klein now can haul, and one of the real beauties of being a dog is that there is no filth rate. The filth rate, of course, is the amount of filth you produce by walking 100 or 1,000 cells, meaning that if Klein wanders around my base, he's not creating dirt everywhere, which is really, really, really handy. Because most wild animals, like these yaks, have a low filth rate, but a filth rate of 1.66, which means every 1,000 tiles walked will create some filth. Alright, Zero is working on making the harp. I do believe that all of our prisoners are able to walk now. Simple and fine meals, lavish meals. Alright, so these guys, these prisoners, should only get simple meals. Just to make it less expensive to host them. Zero is done with the harp. It is a good harp. I'm going to put the harp, let's just put it in this corner over here. That seems a sensible spot. Right. Well, this is a very sucky job, but someone's got to do it. It's cleaning up all the vomit. We don't want this barracks to be ugly. Impressive is nice. Ugly is bad. We want to keep these guys as happy as they are able. Now, it's also possible that I could use Bubbaloo, and maybe I'll do this, actually. All of these prisoners here, I'm going to reduce resistance. I don't want to recruit them, because I'm not really allowed to. I'm supposed to be hosting them for other people. But I'm going to reduce resistance. The reason being, I really want Bubbaloo to become a capable orator and communicator. And having him practice his communication skills on prisoners is actually a pretty good use of his time. So if we take a look at his social skill, he's a burning passion, so he should level up pretty quickly doing this. I also have another quest, the bandit camp. Red Tasca, the chief of the Red Viper Ebony, sent us a message. Pirates nearby. The camp is guarded by 5 enemies. I have 22 days to accept. I'll probably not accept this until Gelly's gone. Okay. I will make this harp, but I don't want more than 2. And honestly, I didn't want this one either, but I'll install the better one and sell the worse one. I do believe that Yanshui's finding it a little tough to keep up with the demand of wood as well. So that's something I have to be considerate of additionally. Now, once these prisoners are on their feet and healed up, they should be able to draw meals from their own shelf. But it looks like they're not doing that right now, so I'm going to clear the shelf, bringing the meals back into my kitchen. Oh, but it looks to be reserved. Ooh, a masterwork potted plant. It's going to really help out that bedroom a bit. Okay, so let's forget this. We'll keep it here. It's fine. All right, some additional potted plants strategically placed around, which, you know, as you can see, adds beauty. It offsets any filth that there is. And spring has officially begun, which means possibly sowing some additional crops. Let's see, I'm growing cotton, rice, more rice. So let's go with some psychoid, because it looks like my tea... actually, I have a lot of psychoid. I'm going to go with hops. Cargo pods coming down. Thank you, Randy Random, for your milk. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that Lavish Meals is not used in milk. Fine Meals doesn't use milk. I'm going to keep the milk separate. So if I do run out of Lavish Meals, Gelly is going to be able to consume the milk as diet. So Lavish Meals and animal products of milk and insect jelly, and vegetarian of berries. That is sort of the royal food. In fact, I really ought to rename it Royal Meals, because that's what it is. It's not Lavish Meals only, it is Royal Meals at this point. Another thing I wanted to do is when we make the simple meals, take to the meals stockpile, and then we'll move it over to the shelf when it's convenient. Okay, this is stockpile 1. This is the stockpile. That's really what it is. So we're getting a little bit more statues. We'll strategically place them. Talon, you are leveling up your art. You are now 7, pushing 8 soon. So Nungfur, or whatever his name is, should be able to feed himself at this point. He's healthy enough. Now, they don't have a table to eat upon, so that's another thing I could build for them to keep them a little bit happier. And I will be doing that in a moment. Is a little table. Okay, so that means putting a wooden table in here. And then stools to eat upon. It's going to get a little cramped in here. It's rather tight, but that should keep them happier. At the moment, it looks like I could probably suspend Butcher Creature, because we don't have the vegetable to make... Well, we don't have the need for any additional butchered meat. We might as well just keep the Muffalo in Muffalo form. Okay, Gelly is soon to leave in about 2 days' time, which is nice. Next up, Sterile Tile. I do have the materials to make a sterilized research room, so let's get working on that. And it could temporarily also be a hospital if we need. And then here is a Royal Imperial Trader coming down to visit us. That's also a nice thing to see. Alright, it appears to me that our base is getting considerably disgusting. So what I'm going to do is change some work priorities around so that Mathis cleans a little bit more. He can't just have the sexy job of hunting animals. He also has to help clean up after them. And I think what I'm going to do, given my... given the demand of wood and the fact that Yan Shui can hardly keep up with the amount that Talon is cutting, I am going to slow down on my art. But it looks like these royal traders here, and let's see Bubbaloo. Oh, I don't even have the title to trade with them. Does Gelly? We'll never do social. Yeah, I guess these royal traders are coming in to flout their, or to you know, strut around like peacocks and walk right on through. Yeah, goodbye. Thanks for visiting. Don't come back, please. You guys are rude. So that was the last small sculpture for now. Zero, looks like you are totally done with the high-tech research bench. Next will be the comms console and then the orbital trade beacon. For the orbital trade beacon, I would like to install it well outside the base. In fact, I'll probably make two. I'm going to make one in my stockpile, in the middle of my stockpile. And I'm going to put one way outside. Now, I'll explain why in just a moment. I'm going to put a stockpile zone. Call this beacon. Put it critically important. That's a orbital trade beacon. Be paste player. So there is a type of attack, and I say this in every single one of my series. There's a type of attack where enemies will drop pod onto a active beacon, and if you leave your beacon, if you leave a powered on beacon in the middle of your stockpile, they will break through the ceiling of your stockpile and do considerable damage to your base by, you know, attacking your beacon there, right? So the way to avoid this is to have two beacons, one that is uninstalled in the middle of your stockpile that you can install when a trade comes in, and a second one to draw would-be drop raiders to drop raid where it doesn't affect you normally. All right, looks like nobody's hauling this milk. I really ought to haul this into my my kitchen here because I don't want it to go to waste. Now soon, I suspect that Bubbaloo will have the title to start to trade with the Royals. You need a title of Knight or higher. I clearly don't have that yet, but I should have that soon. So I've queued the installed beacon to be installed just south of our gun turrets, so that we have a chance to spin up those gun turrets, get them powered on, so that if we are being pod raided, we can defend against it very easily. Also, it looks like I want to clean up some of the area around here. Some just sort of base cleanup. It's getting a little filthy for my tastes. Alright, so here Zero is mining up some additional mechanical components, because we are relatively low. And then we do have an orbital trade beacon up. Now, we don't have a comms console up yet, but that will be next. Alright, looks as if I need some steel. I'm going to have Zero. Are you hungry? No, you're not hungry yet. Not critically, at least. Alright, so this orbital trade beacon is going to be uninstalled. I also want to smelt a weapon, because we have an auto pistol here that we don't really need. And we are working on the high-tech research bench and the orbital trade beacon. Or the comms console, rather. It has all of its steel, and now all the components. And we'll keep this bad boy powered on at all times. I want to maybe run some power around the base here once we have the steel. We don't at the moment, but we will have it soon. Let's get some extra components as well. So we've been keeping Gelly pretty well satisfied with the addition of the chair, the art, the harp, a little bit of a nicer bedroom. It's very impressive now. In fact, we could probably kick the impressiveness up a bit if we installed some of the finer art in that bedroom, so I think that's worth it, to be honest. Lowering the beauty of the immediate area, but raising the impressiveness. Oh, it's still just very. So actually, let's undo that. No, one of the next big tasks is going to be to solve our steel shortage issue, and that's kind of on our haulers hauling in slag to process, and also 0 for just simply mining. Now these guys are departing on a shuttle in 16 days. That's about 1 season. So the 4th of summer, they will be gone, or so. Gelly departing in 1 day. In a way, I'm gonna miss Gelly. Not really much, but having an extra, as long as we keep Gelly happy, having an extra researcher is very nice for pushing our research ahead. Because our little royal enclave here doesn't have a lot of workforce yet. We haven't actually added a lot of recruits. Okay, so we have slightly impressive bedrooms. Bubbaloo's is somewhat impressive. Meteorite of granite. Granite. Called it granite. Alright, 0, what are you working on right now? Cut and stone? Alright, instead of cut and stone, how about you haul the remainder of the milk before it gets consumed by wild animals? Oh, but that was just... There we are. And then, I did mention our severe lack of steel, so whatever you think is next, I want you to go dig a compacted steel. So we have the comms console. There's not really anyone to call right now. As you can see, we could change the heir of Bubbaloo to Yanshui. I guess we could call our neighbors, but there's not much to really say. I'm not allied with them yet. That's something I do want to do in the near future, is to form some proper alliances so that we have allies if we do get attacked and besieged. Now, tending both Gelly and a whole bunch of prisoners does take considerable work, but soon I think they're all going to be feeding themselves. And then Bubbaloo is enjoying all of this social training. As you can see, he's actually maxed for the day, and he's gone from 11 to almost 13. So it definitely has helped a lot. This sort of training is amazing. All right, milk fullness, 70%. So we will be milking the yaks soon as well. I have had a lot of people say that there is steel in these ancient concrete barriers. I know this. I really like the barriers. I like the flavor it adds to the map, and I try not to destroy them really under any circumstance. Okay, so we do have a prison break going on. This is a bit of a problem because I don't have a whole lot of people. So this is the sort of all hands on deck. Now, unfortunately for Bubbaloo, he is a wimp that doesn't have his pain stopper in yet. So he's going to actually run to... let's see what I could do here. He's going to run to try to install a turret. Gelly here is going to wall raise. Nope, they're heading south. Okay. So if they're heading south, I'm going to go stand in the doorway and try to physically stop them. The other issue is I don't want to hurt too many of them. So if they come north, I'll raise a wall in their path, and if they come south, you know, we're obviously punching them. I'm a little worried for Yanshui. Looks like 0. Okay. We stabbed one to death. Talon did. And the entire mission was canceled as a result. That was a real bummer. There's not a really good way to avoid prison breaks. But that is definitely not the result I was hoping for, obviously. Oh well. Our relationship with them has gone down a little bit as a result, and I'm going to have a body to bury. Blood to clean up. I'm going to put this turret back as well. And then people to patch up. Mathis should be tending to Yanshui. I do find it funny how I killed one, and somehow that meant that all of the prisoners were free to go. I did fail the quest, so I understand that. But as you can see, prisoners are more likely to attempt to break out when they're numerous and healthy. So one of the errors that I made, and I probably would have made it again, honestly, it was a calculated risk, is to have barracks means that they all can prison break, whereas if they were in their own individual cells, the likelihood of them prison breaking is a lot lower. I just didn't have the capacity to build individual prison cells. I'm just not there yet. So I did have to risk a barracks, and the net of that risk is that indeed they could perhaps orchestrate a larger prison break that I can't put down easily. Gelly, goodbye. So Bubbalo is now a knight, and as reward of the level up, I'm given a psychic amplifier that I'm going to install in Bubbalo. And he's learned Chaos Skip, which is probably one of my favorite abilities at level 3, which is fantastic. Getting a little stormy out here, isn't it? Alright, I queued Talon up to do some of the home cleaning type stuff, so we don't need a whole lot of blood in the base. Well, that's too bad. That does leave me with the ability to perhaps accept this quest. I don't really have the combat prowess at the moment to complete it, but I'll be working on it. What I really want Zero to be doing is to try to get that research bench up. Now, this other research bench that I had created, Bubbalo, you are reigning right now. So here's one of the major changes, and I'll show it to you in just a second. I just want to get rid of these 2 research zones. Bubbalo is reigning. This is now a need that he has for authority. And his throne room is undignified. It's undignified, and here's how to tell. If we go to his bio and check Knight, the throne room requirements is that it needs to be 30 tiles, impressive of 60. It needs 2 columns. So that is what we're currently missing, is 2 columns in here. So let's set up some marble columns. I would say... maybe right there. They're obviously not functional ceiling holding columns, but on either side of Melton's grave. Kind of makes sense, I suppose. Right. The shelf of meals can easily be destroyed. We don't really have need of the shelf anymore. Let's haul these meals back in the freezer so that they don't spoil. Alright, Zero is working on the columns. And there we go. It's no longer undignified. So, he has received the royal title, gained royal authority, and if Bubbalo dies, Yanshui inherits it. Now, one thing I could do is to have Bubbalo inherit this bedroom here. This bedroom is going to be able to satisfy him for as long as he needs. And for now, just uninstall all this stuff. Because this bedroom is no longer needed. Because the royal guest bedroom has to be in the Ancient Danger. You all voted for that, so that's the plan. So this bedroom here is going to be converted back into part of the recreation room, which will become larger. Guess I can leave the heater here, I suppose. So there's a little bit of work to do. Another thing I want to do is eventually fine tile up this entire recreation room / throne room, because that is eventually going to be a requirement. But guys, I am out of time. So I wanted to just say thank you for all the feedback I've been getting in this series. A lot of your feedback is instrumental in me making wiser and more informed decisions and choices. So if you have feedback for me, or even questions about the why and what I am doing, just drop me a line in the comments below, or hop on Discord. You can find the link at rodamot.com. The 2 yaks that I recruited this episode are going to be raffled off to my patrons. If you would like the privilege of having characters named after you in this series, all you got to do is go to patreon.com/rodamot. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll catch you all next time. Adios.